You're listening to the Girl Next Door podcast. I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Erica. We're two former next door neighbors and good friends who love a good chat and a good laugh. We're inviting you to come on in, have a drink, and stay a while. Hey, friend.
Hey, friend. I'm excited to talk to you today about clothing kids. This is another everyday topic like our episodes on laundry, our hair, and bathing that I think when we get into it, we're going to have a lot of opinions, strategies, and tips. But before we get into talking about clothing kids, tell me what's happening around your neighborhood lately.
Okay, so the girls have found a new ninja park.
Oh, really?
Where they have kind of an obstacle course set up. It's pretty near to us in the neighboring town, and I haven't taken them yet because it's too hot for my likings. But Jeremiah has taken them often on the weekend, like in the morning, and they come back like so sweaty and just love it, and they are just so into the whole ninja scene. They just, it's just a really good way for them to run off some extra energy, because I do feel like maybe you feel like this with Dash's age especially. I feel a little bit like our kids are outgrowing a lot of parks and playgrounds, like in terms of the toys are kind of babyish, or the, and everything is so safety oriented now that they're even more like, lower heights. But our kids, like third grade and above, are at this time where they want to like take some risks physically. And I want to be able to encourage that like risky play within reason. And it's a good way to do that. And so that's just been a good fit for this kind of, almost heading into tween years.
Okay. Tell me, what is a ninja park like? I don't think I've heard of this, but I feel like this is definitely something where I'm taking my boys. So what is it and what do they do there?
It's basically like an obstacle course. So it's set up that way. Instead of just like the couple places to climb and a slide, it's set up with like different obstacles for them to traverse. So like, have you seen the show American Ninja Warrior? Because it's like a whole fitness movement even in the country. And like their gym, I sent them to ninja camp for the half day or whatever. Their gymnastics gym has a course set up now. And so it's like this specific like sport where they compete to see how fast they can get through the obstacle course. So like, I don't know if Jeremiah is timing them or not, but they're just doing it, and so there'll be like some kind of more advanced monkey bars or some, maybe poles that also like spin and whatever, that they have to jump from one to the other. I'm not sure because I haven't been yet, because Mama doesn't go play outside until at least the end of September around here. Yeah. But it's just been a big hit to wear them out a little bit on the weekend. And your boys would love it.
I love that. What are the cross streets for any of our local listeners?
I'm not sure.
Do you know?
It's in Queen Creek, technically.
Okay. I will get the address and I will link to it in our show notes. So
I will say they went to check out one in Chandler yesterday thinking maybe it was better, and it was not. The new one here in Queen Creek is better. So.
All right. Noted. Okay. Well, I want to talk about something that Chris and I have implemented around the division of labor that I am feeling so good about. Right. So I will start off by saying I feel like Chris and I have a really great division of labor overall. He's very involved in all aspects of kid management, household management. And so this is something that I feel like we already do a good job of. But I think just kind of in that late summer slump, like we have talked about lately, I was feeling just a bit overwhelmed and just kind of trying to reflect on, are there things, and Chris was, telling me, are there things I can do to help you? And so trying to reflect on if there were some things that I could let him help me with. And just kind of thinking about division of labor and in thinking about it, I think what I thought about is I'm someone that even if I delegate something to someone else, then I'm still kind of keeping track of it or wanting it to be done in my way. Yeah. And that really doesn't help either of us. I still then feel like I'm tracking something, and then I'm also not letting Chris do it in his way. Right. And he's perfectly capable of doing something like that. So I think what works best for me is if I just hand off whole categories of things. Yes. And so I thought about what I could hand off to Chris, and I've handed off 3 things to him, and I'm feeling so good about it. And I chatted with him. I was like, okay, I think I want to just give you these full things. How do you feel about that? And he was totally up for it. So I have asked him to take on gift giving for his whole side of the family.
For all occasions.
Birthdays, Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day, everything.
I was inspired and did the same, just so you know.
You did.
Sure did.
Oh my gosh.
Sure did hand
we
that
might
right
have to
off.
talk about this more. That is amazing. And the thing about this category is that I have enjoyed thinking of gifts and, getting input from Chris, but then kind of being the one often in charge of like getting it or wrapping it and gifting it. And his family is always, of course, so appreciative. And I, enjoy giving gifts and expressing love that way. But I think honestly, sometimes I would put more pressure or stress on myself than it was really worth, or that I even needed
that anybody else cared about to that level.
Exactly. Exactly. Just because that's just kind of the way I do it. So
Yeah.
almost is like, you do it, but you really don't do it in the best way. Why don't you let someone else do that?
Yeah.
So gift giving for Chris's side of the family, he has taken on sports as a whole category.
Oh, friend. Way to hand that one off.
Yeah. That means researching and finding the league, signing up for it, putting all of the practices and games on our shared family calendar.
I can't almost let you finish the sentence. I'm so happy for you.
Just stop. Just stop. So, and I told him too, I was like, of course I want to help get them to practice. I want to be at games, but you're the one that's managing the schedule. You come to me and tell me, hey, we've got these 2 games. And so can you be at this one and this one?
And why is this always a mom job? Why is this always a mom job?
I don't know.
Dads
are perfectly capable
willing and sometimes more excited about the sport than the mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
So feeling really good about that.
I'm really excited about this for you.
And the last one is all of Halloween.
All of Halloween. I mean, I wouldn't personally give that one up, but
exactly.
I know it stresses you out. This is
and
genius.
Chris is amazing. Chris loves Halloween.
Yeah.
So
he can sew. It's perfect.
It's the boys' costumes. It's deciding what we're going to do for Halloween. Are we getting together with family? Are we doing something with friends? It is decorating the house for Halloween, which is something that he loves doing, and that he's going to do all of it. Now, I will say
they have their stuff for school, parade, all of that.
Yes. All of it. Now, I retained Maeve's costume because she is still so cute and little, and I don't mind costuming a little cute toddler.
Yes, who has no strong opinions yet.
Exactly. Once she has opinions, then that's Chris's domain.
I love it so much. Okay, I need to unpack this further because there is a particular genius in how you have done this. The handing off things wholesale, like whole category.
The whole thing.
Here's the problem. If you just hand off, for example, laundry, okay? If you just hand off doing the actual laundry, well, guess what? The folding and the putting of the way of the laundry is still going to be on you, and the way that they did said laundry impacts your part of the job.
Right.
So the beauty of handing off a whole category is that it doesn't impact you either because you are not remembering some other piece of that. And the way that they did that bothers you because it doesn't match the way you would do this other piece. Like, this is genius. I love a boundary. I love a saying no to this so that you can say yes to something else. Well done, friend. Well done.
Thank you. Now, for anyone who wants to do this in their own life, which I highly recommend, I think you do have to be honest with yourself about if you're going to hand something off, you have to fully hand it off, and you can't dictate how your spouse is doing it because they get to do it their way. So you do have to think about, like, for example, Chris would be totally willing to take on, for example, all menu planning and grocery shopping.
Yeah.
But I know that I have strong opinions and still want to be involved.
Right.
And so I don't think I'd be happy with that because I still want to like control it and get his input.
That's not the place to hand off.
Right. So you have to be very clear. Like when you hand it off, they get to do it in totally their way. You don't get to criticize or micromanage. And so just thinking about that. So those were all categories where I was like, yes, I am totally happy. Like I know Chris is going to do an amazing job but he can do it however he wants to do it.
And man, I just think about how many times we just don't even communicate about who is doing that thing, let alone like assigning I think about how much stress is caused just by like both of you trying to manage the sports schedule and communicate over and over versus like, this is somebody's job to manage. And part of their job is to communicate to me when I need to be where. This is bravo, friend.
I thought you would like
and
that.
I am going to think of some more categories I can tell you right now.
All right, we might need to have an episode about this. Okay, so let's get into our discussion about clothing kids. To start, I would love to hear your personal policies when it comes to kids' clothes. And let's also share any preferences or opinions that our kids have when it comes to clothes, since those can sometimes be at odds with our own personal policies. So tell me what you're working with.
Okay, so speaking of categories, this is 100% my category, to the point where we have now, there's a certain set aside amount of money that gets transferred into a physical account that is for all things girls. So
Okay.
any homeschool stuff comes out of that amount, any clothing. That way, if I'm the one managing it, because it always felt like, okay, well, they need like all new summer clothes. They hit a growth spurt.
A lot.
And then that's like, I can kind of manage the ebb and flow of that if I'm the one also responsible for it. So that is something that we have really worked on in finances. Like whoever's going to be in charge of that thing needs to fully be in charge of that thing, including like have a budget set aside so that it's not this like, I'm in charge, but I got to let you know we're going to spend $200 on this today, just for communication's sake. So
yes,
I am in charge. Kids' clothes are actually bothering me quite a bit right now, so I'm glad we're doing this episode.
Great.
We'll get into the specific pain points, but here are some general policies I have and maintain. Number 1, characters are on pajamas only.
Okay.
I don't buy shirts with Disney characters on them or Marvel characters or whatever. I just can't look at them. I can't. I think it's from too many years of teaching. So they can have them on their pajamas. My kids aren't super into any particular character anyway, so they have not lost much in this regard. They're just not those kind of kids. Also, speaking of pajamas, we wear them and they're cute. We are not a sleep in our underwear or a random nightshirt kind of family. I love kids' pajamas. They wear a different pair every night unless we are traveling, and then we have downsized. Otherwise, they get a fresh pair every night because I just love fresh kids in jammies, especially out of the shower.
Yeah.
My rules around clothes are kind of just, it must match. Like I will send a kid back for not matching. I don't know how to be the parent who's okay with their kid. I think it's amazing if you can be the parent. Let me reword this. Who is okay with your kid wearing the purple tutu with the orange shirt with the rain boots? I can't be that parent, and I got to work with what I've got. So I try to limit it to, it has to match and not be stained or in horrible disrepair. Like, you can't just wear it to death till your butt is literally falling out of it. The biggest thing with my kids and where we clash right now is that they just want to wear the same outfit over and over. And it's never an outfit I particularly like. That's how that always goes too. Or it'll be like a particular pairing that technically works together, but just looks kind of like haphazard. And so it's just this like, can you just wear some of your other clothes too?
Right. Can you just mix it up a little bit?
So that is where we're at. They're really not too bad we're not battling about clothes. Kind of, I think partly because we just kind of have those broader parameters set, like, nope, you're going to match and it's going to not have a stain on it. Like we're going to do that at least. And so I think that they've been pretty good about that. They also do their own laundry completely, start to finish now, every Sunday.
Wow.
So that
is really incredible.
That helps them take some ownership too, honestly, I think, over the clothing situation. And then that way they know, like, we know what they want is clean for the week. That's helped to eliminate some battles of, well, I don't want to wear this. Well, it's all you have clean,
Right.
So that's kind of where we're at.
Okay. I do have some strong opinions, I feel like, on kids' clothes. So a few of mine are no athleisure wear. For me, athletic clothes are for sports. And
especially
otherwise,
boys. Girls can be cuter, I will say.
Do you think so?
I think girls' clothes are cuter at their athleisure. Like the cute Old Navy athleisure section for girls is kind of trendy and cuter.
That will be interesting when Maeve is up to that age and just seeing the comparison in so many different ways, like boys versus girls. And it does feel like the clothes is where there are really stark really differences. So far for the boys, like I said, athletic clothes are for sports, but when it's our everyday and definitely for going to school, I want like the denim or the khaki or, the whatever it is, shorts and
leveled
like,
up a smidge.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, Similarly, no like brand characters. I just personally feel like my children are not a walking advertisement.
Free advertisement that you had to pay for.
that I paid for.
Yeah.
And I just find I personally don't like the look as much of those kinds of clothes. They're just like kind of can be like loud and in your face. Anyway, so I don't tend to buy those. And similarly, usually not words or phrases. I definitely have made some exceptions when there's something I just really love, but I just kind of think about, I don't want my children carrying a message that they did not choose. I just kind of think about that. And I do think there are lots of really positive, affirmative things on kids' clothes nowadays. So I'm not saying that no one should be doing it. That's just kind of my own personal preference.
Which we should say, this is all going to be about our personal preference.
This is all personal
coming
preference.
from our own privileged position of being able to choose our kids' clothes. So we are well aware of that. And don't think that this applies to everybody, wholesale. For sure.
When I'm buying clothes and I am the one in charge of kids' clothes in our house, I try to just get everything generally matching in a wardrobe. And this is interesting. I actually think this is probably easier to do with boys' clothes, probably than girls. I think the girls' clothes, I'm already noticing with Maeve, there just are many more different types of patterns that it does feel like it would be kind of almost more on a day-to-day basis. Like, oh, that doesn't quite go or quite match, whereas I feel like with the boys, it's just like they can wear any shirt with any shorts.
It's a lot more mix and match friendly, I think.
Yes. But I do intentionally buy clothes in that way too. Like I kind of just stick to neutral shorts and pants. That way, any of the shirts that they have are going to match. So, in terms of preferences from my kids, so far, my boys really haven't had a lot of clothing preferences. So I think that also makes it easier for me to have maybe what some people might think are like more strict rules about clothes. It's not like they're begging me to wear athletic shorts to school. I've just said, oh, those are for when you're playing sports and otherwise. And they're just like, okay. And don't ask me about it anymore. And they're not begging me to have shirts with these different characters on it and whatnot. I will say one thing that is funny in terms of personal preferences for my children, and this can drive me bonkers. For some reason, it's like they hate to try on new clothes. Do you have this problem?
No, I like it. It's like a little fashion show time.
It is infuriating.
You're like, I need you to try this on to see if it fits.
Yeah. Not only have I spent time, my energy, time, and money to buy you these new nice clothes, and I need to know if they fit or not. And then they're like in such a huff over it. Oh my God, Erica. Don't get me started.
Of like pushing all your entitlement buttons. Like these still have tags on them and are brand new and shiny, and you won't even put them on.
It is very, very frustrating. Another just thing that has been challenging about clothing my kids so far, my boys are both tall and thin, and finding shorts that fit their longer legs but their skinny waist is so difficult. I mean, we're at the point now where Dash needs to go up a size in shorts because his shorts are getting too short, but I get the adjustable waist and they are cinched
as far as they can go
all the way. And I do think that becomes a little uncomfortable.
It is not a cute look, really.
But I really have no other. I have been asking other friends with similar like body shape kids, like what brands are you using? And they're like all the same ones. So anyway, I think that's been a little tricky. And then especially for then getting him to try on those new clothes in that way. Anyway, so that's kind of where we are.
I have some teeny weenies in my house. They are both like under 10 percentile for height and under 30 percentile for weight usually. And so they are just tiny. Like, I am technically still in, which gets hard as they get older and do have more preferences. I'm technically still in toddler size shoes, the very top of the toddler size shoes for Julia, who's 8. Because she's so tiny. She's still only a size 12. And so like, it just, sometimes that works because you can, find pretty generic things. But for some of the other styles that she wants to be wearing, they might come in Velcro in her size and she's perfectly capable of tying her shoes. And so I get it. The sizing issue can be a thing too.
It can be a challenge. Okay, tell me about how you manage your kids' wardrobes in terms of knowing how many of an item they need, keeping track of if they're wearing the right size, like we're talking about, and also what you do with clothes when they've outgrown them.
Okay, this is where I'm feeling frustrated because
Okay.
I felt so much more on top of this when they were going to school.
Oh, interesting.
Because
Okay.
school provides this natural, like, okay, back to school shopping. And then,
Right.
okay, school is done. Or over Christmas break, let's figure out what you need
Mm-hmm.
for, winter into spring. And it
Right.
just feels like their clothes are kind of always a hot mess right now. And
Okay.
also, it kind of doesn't matter as much what they wear because we
Right.
stay home.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to balance though them being comfortable with still being
Mm-hmm.
like put together and ready for the day. Because I do
Right.
notice even at little ages, it makes a big difference. If I say like, oh, if it's a pajama day, it doesn't go well for
Mm-hmm.
school. It
Yeah.
just doesn't because their mindset is in a different place. Or I've been really lax about like doing their hair, just letting them put their own like little
Mm-hmm.
ponytail in, just to get it out of their face. But I find like
Mm-hmm.
on it, okay, I'm going to say this and it's going to sound bad. And I'm fully aware. I enjoy being around them a little bit more, just that little bit, right? A little
Mm-hmm.
bit more when they look put together. They don't have like hair hanging down in their face. It just
Mm-hmm.
helps when you're already feeling like, okay, I'm losing my patience with you about something completely unrelated. And also get your hair out of your face. It just like helps with those kind of things. So I'm trying to find a way to balance like, okay, we can dress more casually and comfortably for home. Like I'm okay
Mm-hmm.
with a more athleisure outfit. Like Vanessa's really liking like the running shorts from Old Navy that kind of have the
Mm-hmm.
built-in, everything. And then she wants to wear like a
Mm-hmm.
tank top with those. Like I'm okay with
Gotcha.
that, but I feel like I almost need to then shift what I'm buying to just give her more to match with that. So she's not just
Gotcha.
wearing like the same outfit
I
over and
see.
over
I
because
see.
we see a
Mm-hmm.
lot of each other. So when we see a lot
Right.
of each other in the same things all the time, it feels even more monotonous. So that is shallow of me and I am perfectly aware, but I think a lot of moms, I think I said what a lot of other moms feel.
I love your willingness to say it out
So
loud.
there is that. I do have a bin in Julia's closet, just like a, Rubbermaid bin or
Mm-hmm.
whatever for clothes and shoes that Vanessa has outgrown, but that don't quite fit Julia yet, or maybe it's not the
Okay.
season for. That's happening
Mm-hmm.
less frequently. I feel like they're catching up a little bit more.
Yeah.
At certain times, they're more off than others because they're
Mm-hmm.
only 19
Mm-hmm.
months apart. So a
Yeah.
lot of things can go right into Julia's drawers from Vanessa's, but I have found it helpful to have like a holding tank.
Right.
And then I do just find I have to really like force it now. I don't have the natural rhythms of a school year to be like, once in a while we just do a purge, kind of a try-on session. I help
Mm-hmm.
them maybe clean up their room and reorganize it kind of while we do it. I get
Mm-hmm.
rid of things then that are just driving me nuts.
Right. Right.
Honestly, and they're not, mine are kind of like yours. They're not super attached to any clothing. They just get in habits with it. So like
Right.
if I'm like, okay, I think we're all done with this shirt now,
Mm-hmm.
they're okay with
Mm-hmm.
it.
Right.
And yeah, something I do too is like, okay, pull out all your shoes. Because sometimes they
Mm.
just get lost in their little cubby in the mudroom and they
Yeah.
don't even know what they have anymore.
Right.
So we pull it all out, we clean out the cubby, try them all on, and let me see them. And we keep the ones, then we can kind of see like where the gaps are moving into the next season. But I have to be super intentional about that now.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I want to start with how I think about how many of any item my boys need. And I have found it for me, I love having a very specific plan. And I do shop infrequently for their clothes, kind of in bigger batches, like we'll talk about. And so I have found it really helpful to spend some time coming up with a plan, like specifically numbering how many things they need of each item. And what I've come up with for the boys is to have about 10 shirts and 10 pairs of shorts or pants.
Okay.
And then about 10 of each for underwear and socks. For Maeve so far, she needs a little bit more because you have some outfit changes
Yes,
for messy
yes.
toddlers or blowouts or whatever. But still, I would say like about 12 tops and 10 bottoms and like 5 to 7 pairs of socks. I just find this makes shopping and managing their clothing so much less overwhelming for me because it can feel overwhelming. And also, like added perk of this that you wouldn't expect, it makes it easier to do laundry. It makes it easier to fit everything in their drawers. I think if you just have so many clothes, then you have so many clothes that you're taking care of that are cycling through the laundry. And just, I think for me personally, if their clothes can't fit really nicely in their drawers, that means we have too much.
That's how I always kind of know too that we need to purge and pare down. Mm-hmm.
In terms of keeping up with the right size, I'll get into this, but for the most part, all of the boys' clothes are the same brand. So what's nice about that is they all fit similarly. So they kind of outgrow them all at the same time. Yeah. So you can kind of just in one big swoop, like, okay, and it's time for the next size.
Up. Yep. That is helpful than shopping kind of all different brands.
Right. And they're kind of outgrowing things at different times. So when I do buy clothes, I usually will, even size up and have clothes be a little bit bigger, just knowing that they usually are growing pretty fast and we're just going to get lots of wear out of things. In terms of what I do with clothes when they outgrow them, when Dash outgrows clothes, if they're still in good condition, I have a bin in the top of one of their closets that I save things back for Cedric, and he can conveniently usually wear things like the very next year. So I'm not usually needing to save things back for very long. When Cedric outgrows something, there are some things that maybe Maeve could wear eventually now that we're getting into that, and I'll save that back, or I'll donate it through Goodwill, or I have loved using our neighborhood Buy Nothing group for that, where I just have this whole, here's a whole set of boys' clothes in this size. Right. I would love to pass it on to some other kid right in our neighborhood. And then for Maeve, what has been so fun is that when she's outgrowing clothes, I am saving them for my sister who's expecting a baby girl.
Oh, so fun.
And so that is really fun.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the big topic of shopping for kids' clothes. I am curious to know how much your girls are involved or not, and whether you add new clothes throughout the year or during a couple of bigger shopping trips, and any just tips or things that you've learned that help.
Okay. I will just say this before I forget it because I didn't write it down. When they do come with me shopping, we don't try on clothes at the store. Usually, unless it's for an event that we need it,
Gotcha. Need
a Christmas dress or whatever it might be. But if they do come shopping, we just take it home and try it on. It's easy enough to return it. I do a lot of online shopping for them anyways, but when on the more rare occasion that they're with me, we're just like, I'm pretty sure this is your size. Same thing. We pretty much shop at Target and Old Navy, and so we kind of know what size they are, and we just roll with it that way. That helps with the logistics and the crankiness while shopping. I would say I definitely tend to more do a couple of big trips a few times a year, and then I will often let them pick out maybe a few things. So let's say I order a bunch of stuff online and I have some jeans and some, sweatshirts, whatever. Maybe I'm like, okay, I use it as a chance to do a little one-on-one date with them usually, and be like, okay, Vanessa, we're going to go get a couple things at Target and you get to pick out 3 t-shirts. At a place where I kind of already,
it's I know pre-screened.
So that way too, it's not overwhelming. I did it when I was a kid, and I don't know how my mom did it, but I remember back to school shopping marathon sessions, and that sounds horrible. With online shopping now, that doesn't sound fun to me.
Now the fact that you don't have to go to the store, it's let's not.
Yeah. So I think I can be more organized, shop sales better when I do it online, kind of be on the lookout for, okay, I know we're going to need the next size up. Let's wait for a sale. When I'm shopping in person with them, it's very distracting, and it's just harder to pay attention. And we end up getting some random shirt that doesn't match anything else they have. But I will let, for instance, I ordered some things for them this summer because they were outgrowing stuff. So we're still going to be wearing summer for the next couple months. So that was fine. And when I did that, I went down and showed them my whole Old Navy cart and was just like, okay, is there anything in here that you don't like? Are these?
Oh, I like that.
Because we'll take it out and we'll find something else. But I had already, again, it's way too overwhelming for them to see a whole store full of clothes.
Yes, agree.
And so it was just like, okay, these are the things I picked. And sometimes it was like, I like that, but could we find it? Do they have other colors? And we would do that. So they had some input there. And I tell them you have okayed these clothes, so you're wearing them. You're not going to tell me that these are not what you wanted, because you got some, this is your time to now speak up. But then also when school started, we went shopping the day before school officially started our homeschool year, we went and got like one new outfit that was just like kind of cute and fun, and they wanted it to match. So, but yeah, shopping for a whole load of clothes with them, no. I just order it online for the most part, or I'll sometimes take myself out on a shopping date and peruse. That was more fun when they were little. I missed the toddler department and the bows, and I could get lost in the Old Navy Target, toddler department.
That is so adorable.
I will say I have been thinking about doing that like bulk online shopping for basics or sizing up, and then maybe trying out a kid clothing subscription box.
Oh, interesting.
For those couple pieces you might want to add in, or a new season, because I just feel like that would be a way for them to, that would be fun when that arrives and they get to pick what they want to keep, and like they can kind of tailor it to their size, their style and that kind of thing. So I don't know. I want to look into that, maybe Kid Pick or Stitch Fix or something. I feel like they may be at fun ages where they would enjoy getting that in the mail and kind of trying stuff on. So
I really like all of those ways that you're involving the girls, but in these kind of doable, not overwhelming, in ways that work for you. Because I do want to teach all of my kids about clothes and about expressing yourself through clothes and about having your own style, and also about finding clothes that fit, that like fit your body, that you feel good in, things like that. And so I am thinking about that as they're getting older. Right now I do feel like I'm pretty controlling and control like every aspect of the clothing. And I like those ways that you're bringing them in, but in these ways. And plus it would be really overwhelming for a kid to have to pick out like 10 shirts and all, and especially in a store where there's so many options. I personally can get overwhelmed by that. So I like that. So for me, I also am doing bigger batch shopping, and I'm finding it is for the boys anyway, like 2 big purchases during the year. One, when the weather is cooling off, or like just ahead of that. So that's probably kind of like October-ish. And then one before it gets really hot. For here, the back to school shopping, it is kind of like the timing is a little bit off because it's still really hot for a while. And so I find for back to school, it might be like 1 or 2 new shirts just to freshen up. But for the most part, we're still going to get a lot of wear out of our summer stuff. Right. So, my kids, like I was saying, are essentially not involved at all at this point. I either shop online or do a Target pickup or shop in person at Target. Just the majority of their clothes are from Target still at this point. And then I'll bring things home and I might lay them out on their bed to kind of make it feel more fun or exciting. And so I guess like for the boys, they would be old enough to be involved, and I'm still not giving them a lot of that responsibility yet, but it is for 2 reasons. One, like I said, they still don't express much care about their clothes.
If you felt like you had one that was really into it, I'm sure that would change things.
Exactly. And so I just feel like I have really strong feelings about their clothes, but they don't. So I think they could go with me and we could get into probably these arguments, like, no, not that. But I just don't know if they really care at this point. I will say there was a time, I think right before the boys were going back to in-person school last year, and Cedric was actually expressing some preferences. Some of the like shirts that Dash had worn that he was getting as hand-me-downs, he didn't really care for some of them, just, for whatever reason. So I was like, okay, well, let's go, you and me together, and we'll go shop for some shirts. And we talked beforehand about, we're not going to get stuff with different cartoon characters on it and whatnot. So kind of giving him the parameters ahead of time. And it was just like, let's pick out, 3 new shirts. So anyway, I would like to, I think maybe start doing that a little bit more, how you're talking about, let's go pick out one outfit, or even like you said, I think showing them online, like, do you want this one or this one?
Right.
Or
it's like the grown-up version of the toddler. Do you want the red cup or the blue cup? Like choices within parameters that you set, because you are buying the clothes also.
Right.
They can fully make the choice when they are buying their own clothes.
Right. And I think another way that I'm kind of introducing this is we do get a few kids' clothing catalogs. And so sometimes just letting them look through there. And I have thought before too, like maybe for Christmas, getting them, a slightly more one from these maybe slightly more expensive brands, and just getting them to kind of, which ones would you like? Right. So kind of like that. So I have a few pro tips to share.
Okay.
One, so this might not work as well for you because you get maybe tired. They like cling onto something and keep wearing it. But for me, you can buy 2 or more of the exact same thing.
Yes.
This was like a revelation for
especially
me
like
recently.
Basics like jeans and shorts. Or like I do that for sure. Yeah.
I have been now buying 2, like sometimes 2 of the exact same t-shirt for my boys. Because sometimes, like I said, like of the choices that I have, I don't know, there's just some things that are just, I don't know, like in the choices and like at Target, like I was saying, some things just all like crazy sharks. Like sometimes there's just not that many different patterns that I really like. And I was kind of stressed, like, oh, I can only find like 6 things that I like. And it's like, oh, well, but of these 3 shirts, I'm going to get them 2 of the same.
Right.
They don't mind re-wearing. I'm not going to worry about that if their teacher is like, I feel like he already wore that this week.
They don't
You know
notice.
what? He's wearing a clean shirt. It's fine. So anyway, that is just something that I want to give other parents permission to do, that it hadn't really even occurred to me. Like, it is okay if your kid has more than one of the exact same shirt. Another thing that I have really enjoyed doing, and this is especially for Maeve, where, like I said, for girls' clothes, it does seem like there's just more diversity in pattern and color, is I made a Pinterest board and then like put together her fall wardrobe because I wanted everything to go together. And this was actually a very enjoyable thing to do.
So fun. So fun.
So that's really fun. And I ended up making one for the boys as well, like for their fall wardrobe. And that just helped me see, because like I said, I can kind of get overwhelmed or then noticing like, oh, actually now I have too many shirts.
Right. And not enough bottoms or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So that can really help. And the last one, this is very specific to where we live, but I find winter clothing to be so tricky here because it's winter and you're like, oh, they need coats and all these things. But finding the right weight of coat is so tricky. So what I have found the past 2 years we've used these that are, I think, perfect is a cozy zip up hoodie for their winter coat.
Yep,
I got mine from Land's End for the boys. They had good, colors, patterns. The quality is really great, but still affordable. So the fleece lined zip up hoodies, that is where it's at. And that would just felt like, okay, I know what to get them for the winter.
It took me until this winter to figure that out too. Like the Sherpa lined hoodies from Old Navy are really good
there
too.
You go.
And that's like basically their winter coat, unless we go up into the mountains or something. And then I get that secondhand because we don't use it that often.
Right. Okay, let's talk about all the things with shoes.
Oh, the shoes.
I would love to know how many pairs of shoes your kids have. Do you have any tips for making just kids' shoes more manageable? Tell me what the shoe situation is like.
Okay. Thing number 1, I will say as a tip is to make sure, this is something I've been bad about lately too, because we don't wear shoes that often.
Gotcha.
Like we're home where the girls are barefoot most of the time. Right. So I don't think about, do they have shoes that match these new outfits I'm getting them.
Gotcha.
Or like somewhat at least, right? And so thinking about how you can maybe come up with like a shoe capsule wardrobe that fits in with what your kids typically wear, the colors they typically wear, the style even. Like it looks really weird to wear like fancier sandals, like leather sandals with an athletic outfit. Like that's weird. That bothers me. So okay, so I like to have for Arizona, I have found this to be a good combination. I like to have a pair of athletic shoes, like Nikes, Adidas, something like that, like running shoes, right? Some nicer sandals, like a leather or faux leather, whatever, just like a brown pair of sandals for the girls, at least too, that they can wear with like a dress, and it would just go with all of their dresses then. And then I like a Chucks or a Vans situation. So
a casual sneaker.
Yes, casual sneaker, a little trendier, but still goes with a lot. And it's closed toe though. So they can play in it even when they're not being like necessarily athletic, especially for school. Those were great because it looked nice, but it was like, they could run around at recess. Yeah. And then my girls, because they do some hiking with Jeremiah and camping, they also have like some outdoor, more hiking shoes that can grip onto the rocks. And some kind of camp sandals, like water
Gotcha.
shoe type things.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of think of that as just like specific to an activity. And then obviously like some flip-flops or pool slides or whatever. So that's what we have for shoes.
Okay.
We have like a mud room right when you walk in our back hallway right off of the garage door. So that's really nice. And they each have a cubby there, like with doors that close, which is lovely. So I don't have to see or smell their shoes. But when I didn't have the cubbies, I would have, like, we had just kind of like you did, where you're coming in from your garage is like your laundry room. And I just had two shallow, this is the key, not deep, two shallow baskets, one for each of them by the door. That was where their shoes went when we came home. And it was where they got their shoes. So their shoes weren't all mixed up together. And also, like, they could find them all. They didn't have to dig through it, and they weren't all over the floor. It at least contained them in a basket. That system is one of the systems that worked like best for me, and I never changed it until we had the cubbies, and then, you know, they just went in there. But highly recommend that. And I will say, overall for shoes, this was one of those things I encourage independence on as soon as humanly possible. Like, the minute I brought those girls home, we had a shoe basket. And they were, even if they weren't able, like Julia wasn't able to put her own shoes on at like 22 months, she still was in charge of bringing them to me. She still was in charge of putting them away when we got home. So like, the more you can incorporate, again, handing that off to them as something they're responsible for their own shoes, even at those tiny ages, that leads itself to like, we just always put our shoes away when we come home. Like, I don't find my kids' shoes all over the house. Never have. And so it seems to work if you can kind of start early.
Right. Okay. So we keep shoes really, really simple at my house. Maybe a little too simple. I mean, until very recently, the boys would always have one pair of shoes.
Okay.
So this has its pros and cons. Pros, there's just the one pair. Yeah. So it's not taking up a lot of room, and there's no decision. Like, when you tell them to put on their shoes, they're never putting on like the wrong shoe for that occasion. Right. And they've just always been the athletic shoes. So they're ready for sports. They're ready for recess. That's very simple.
Which I will say match more boys' outfits too.
Yes. Yes. I think that is a factor too. Right. Exactly. So I think that is something that we have not gotten into, but might with Maeve. So I think a con of this maybe is that their shoes then just get so much use. Yeah. And I do just wonder like how fast they're wearing through them, like how smelly they're getting, you know, things like that.
There's
it just
no
seems
rotation.
Like, right. Exactly. That is all the time. And this is so funny. Like, there have been a couple of times where it rains or they water play and then their shoes are soaked, and it's like, we have no alternative for tomorrow. So we got to get those dry by tomorrow. I felt like that's where almost the simplicity comes back to get you. Yeah, exactly. For the summer, I have before tried to always have some water shoes for them in the summer. I've gotten them some like sandals before, and I think they didn't seem to really like them or want to wear them. So it had felt like in the summer, we still just had the one pair. But this year I found them water shoes that they loved. They were the Native brand. Have you had those for your girls before too? They, you know, slip on and kind of look like athletic shoes. So it felt like they could wear them and run around in them, but then be ready for like the creek or the splash pad or whatever it might be. So that has been really great. Cedric does currently have another pair of that kind of more casual, like low cut sneaker, like you were talking about. And I have it took me a while to even realize, oh, it actually is kind of nice that he has another pair of shoes to rotate in. So I think maybe when I do my fall clothes shopping, I will get a pair of that like that for Dash. So, and they do actually right now currently both have an athletic pair of shoes. Cedric has basketball shoes, which he looks so cute in, kind of like the high top Nikes, because he is going to play basketball this semester. And Dash before has had soccer cleats, but of course you're only wearing those for soccer practice. Right. Let's see. Maeve currently only has one little pair of shoes, but they're very adorable. Actually, I did get her another little like water pair of shoes. So I guess she does have two little pairs of shoes, but planning to similarly like keep hers pretty simple. But it will be interesting to see just if I feel like maybe with the clothes she wants to wear, just all of that, if maybe she ends up having
options.
I will say, so Dash, both of my boys can tie shoes, but here's the thing. I don't know if you also have dealt with this, where they refuse to untie them and tie them.
Yes, and it makes me so mad.
Me as well. It infuriates me because then it just feels like they're stretching them out and then they're like, then they're loosening them and all these things. So this was a place where I decided to choose my battles. And it just was like, I don't want to be nagging them, like forcing, having this power struggle about how you're going to manage your shoes. And so I heard about these like silicone, like kind of lace things that you thread through the lace holes. I heard about this on the What Fresh Hell podcast. And this was like, one of these like, this product saved my life.
Yeah.
So I will link to them in our show notes. The brand is called High Fam.
Okay.
Like silicone laces.
Okay.
I have ordered them on Amazon, and that is what both of my boys wear in their shoes. Now I am choosing not to have the power struggle. So they don't need to tie? Exactly. Okay. They go through the lace holes, like just across all the way up. And so then they're stretchy, so they can open them to put their shoe on, but then they like keep them snug on their feet.
That's the thing, is because they're flopping all around and they're standing on the backs of their shoes often.
Yes.
Then.
Oh my gosh. They are using those shoes every which way.
I like that. Okay. I have one who has really no problem tying because she has no problem moving at a snail's pace and making everybody wait for her. I have another one who wants to hurry up and get it done. And then, she ends up doing that, and it drives me crazy. It does. It drives me crazy.
I feel like that's one of those things that, when they get to be adults, they will tie and untie their shoes.
So true.
Let's not worry about that. At this point, let's just make it less of a struggle.
And when you're already like, you try to get out the door and then you see that on top of it, you're like, kids are the worst.
It really, shoes are the thing because it's always when you're trying to get out the door, or like you said, when they come home and it's one more thing that can be around the house, like anything you can do to simplify and have those very clear, this is what we do with shoes, is so helpful. Yes. In terms of like shoes around, we also have designated places where their shoes go. For us right now, it is the front hall closet. And it's kind of messy in there. And I like your idea about like a specific like cubby or bin. Since they don't have as many pairs of shoes, it's kind of not as big of a deal. But that is a thing too, that it's like, if I see shoes around, hey, you know where these belong. Yep. Get them there.
It is like the easiest thing to start teaching, even at those little tiny ages.
Yes.
Maeve, go walk those little shoes into your basket, my darling.
That's right. Okay, so let's end with talking about brands we love for kids' clothes and shoes, and any that maybe haven't measured up.
Okay, I'm kind of boring with this one. I mostly stick to Target
I probably will too.
and Old Navy for clothes because I just feel like they're inexpensive for how quickly they grow out of them. I have enjoyed a few nicer brands, like from ThredUp. I'll find a dress or something like Hannah Anderson is very nice stuff. Some Tea Time or something. I don't even know the brands.
Tea Collection.
Yes, Tea Collection.
That's one of mine that I'm going to mention.
Cute. But I've only even really come across those because of buying secondhand on ThredUp. I don't typically, or maybe sometimes at like Nordstrom Rack or TJ Maxx, they'll have like a nicer brand that is more in the price range that I want to spend on kids' clothes that they outgrow so fast. I will say I always buy nicer shoes though.
Okay.
So I will buy like a Target sandal for, like their more dressy sandal that they might wear with a dress or something like that. Or maybe some funky fall boots, like some combat boots or something that don't have to hold up because we don't wear them as much here. But otherwise, I do go pretty name brand on shoes because I just feel like they fit better. They hold up so much better to kids play. So like usually it's Nike or Adidas for us for athletic shoes, Converse or Vans for like a everyday sneaker. Those are kind of our go-tos. When the kids were littler, I really loved saltwater sandals.
Ooh, I saw a little girl with some of those the other day, and I was like, ooh, those are in Maeve's future.
Maeve definitely needs some. And they're so great because they actually have really sturdy bottoms. You know how I love, I love the sturdy bottom. for like, little kids that are stumbling around a lot, and they're leather, but they're waterproof somehow. It's
That
like
is
a
incredible.
breathable leather that they can be in and out of water. I loved them for like the beach because, little kids can't wear like a flip flop in between their toes yet. So I love those. They wore those all the time because they're great with a shorts and sandals, or shorts and shirt outfit, or a dress. So we used to love those. Now they don't fit their feet as much for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Like my girls have kind of wide feet, and the toddler ones were wider, and they get very narrow in the older kid sizes. So
let me ask you this: for when you're buying more name brand shoes, are you going directly to those websites, or is there another like shoe shopping place where you buy shoes?
Mostly Zappos.
Okay.
And I will just see what's on sale. Or we have had some good luck at like the Converse outlet.
Okay.
Stuff like that. Real cheap sometimes.
Another question, because this was something that our friend at book club brought up, that she said she has been, shopping tons at Target for her kids, but her kids getting a little bit older are almost starting to express preference, like wanting some more style. And so she was feeling like, oh, for the first time, I actually took my kids to a mall because it just felt like they were kind of outgrowing Target a little bit. So have your girls expressed anything like that yet? It sounds like maybe not yet. Or do you even know where you might shop for them when that happens?
Vanessa doesn't seem to care much, other than she tends to just like more neutral colors and a little bit more feminine style and like pretty conservative. Like she doesn't want like a tank top that shows too much, like just her personal style.
Yeah.
And Julia is definitely likes things a little bit edgier and brighter, but she can usually find all that wherever we are, or I'll kind of pick out something for her style. She loves an animal print. She loves an outrageous shark shirt every once in a while, which is kind of fun on a girl, I will say.
It's really fun.
Because it's very like, it's almost like an ironic, edgy fashion choice then. And then she pairs it with her little like high top black chucks, and it's just a very cute look. So
I love that. Related to that, let me just say that for both Chris and me, one of our just favorite outfits to put Maeve in, and I had even thought about this, like when I knew I was having a girl that I couldn't wait to put her in, is like combining a really feminine something within like a more neutral or masculine something. Fun. I love, she has these really flowery leggings, and then we put that with like a camo shirt or like her bug shirt or something. And it is so fun. And that just feels like it doesn't feel available for boys, unfortunately.
Yeah, that kind of mix. I used to love like, they had these little gold combat boots, not shiny gold, but just like gold color with a little bit of sparkle. Combat boots, and that with leggings and like a flowy top, like the flowy girly top with the combat boots was just like my favorite little toddler outfit.
That is so fun. Okay, so for us, like I mentioned, we are Target all the way, Cat and Jack.
Yeah.
It's great quality. Yeah. And I do feel like over the past years, just since having Dash, they really have expanded like what they're offering for boys and girls, and offering more colors and patterns and things like that. So I love supporting that. And, Dash will wear his clothes, and Cedric can usually get wear out of them too. So they're affordable. They really seem to hold up. And I love, it's like once you know how a brand fits, it is so nice to just be like, okay, and I know exactly what size
we don't have to try
buy
this
you.
all on.
I have also, for Maeve so far, I have enjoyed buying things through Primary. They have just lots of great basics in like just basic colors or some really basic patterns. And those have been really nice to mix in. I've gotten Maeve's swimsuits from there for the past couple of years, and those have been really great. Hannah Anderson, like you mentioned, has great pajamas and also like really cute kids' clothes. Yeah. And they do have sales pretty often. So it's like wait for a sale.
Yeah, for sure.
I got some really cute things for Maeve last fall from Tea Collection, which is more of a splurge. And so it was kind of like, okay, put together mostly kind of affordable stuff from Target. And I do love Carter's for baby stuff. And then maybe like one or two kind of splurgy things from Tea Collection. I love to browse Mini Bowden for Maeve and for the boys as well. I've been kind of eyeing like maybe getting them like something fun, maybe for the fall, like one thing. So There's that. I mentioned the Native brand water shoes. They are a little pricier, like $40 or something for a pair of water shoes, which feels like a lot, but they have gotten so much wear out of them and they're really holding up. So
I found those to be really great, just like play shoes too. Like when they don't have socks and shoes on, but I don't want them running around on like doing their bike and stuff with flip flops. You know what I mean?
With shoes, I use Zappos as well. Now, this is something that has happened with shoes because it is harder to determine size with shoes. And so we have had the experience, and I will tell you what I've learned from it. When shoes arrive, and I also just pick out their shoes because I also don't want them picking out the wild, crazy light up.
Like, the light up shoes.
I will tell you what shoes you're going to have at this point. So the shoes arrive and they get so excited. And then if they don't fit, it is nuclear.
Or they try to lie
meltdown.
that they fit when they don't. And I have to make it clear, like, I will get you ones in the right size, but you have to be honest.
We have had that as well, where it's like, no, I promise they fit. A couple days later, no, I think these are too small. Okay, here is what I've determined. If I'm getting 2 pairs of shoes for the boys, 4 pairs of shoes are arriving at my house. And here's the thing. You get the both sizes, but also we have very, very explicit conversations like, okay, shoes are going to arrive. We are going to try them on. If they don't fit, don't worry. This isn't about getting your new shoes that day. It's just about getting the size right. And then if I need to, I'll get that size.
Right. Like beforehand conversation.
Helping to set expectations with what is going to happen. And even being able to say, remember that time, what happened.
Yeah.
I love shopping at Zappos for this reason. If you shop on the app, it's free, like 2-day shipping. Yeah. So if I need to get that different size, it can get there pretty fast. So anyway, it has been worth it to me to spend extra upfront on extra shoes that I know I'm going to return. And Zappos, I just feel like makes it easy. So
nice.
I will just put that out there.
That's a good idea.
I will say so far, at least shopping for my boys, I have tried a couple of shirts from Old Navy for them. And I've just found it doesn't fit them as well. Like, I don't know, something about the way it hangs. I do like
Target's t-shirts better than Old Navy's t-shirts.
Yeah. I think that's what I've tried. So I might need to try some more other stuff. And maybe as Maeve is like getting into the little like toddler section. I've also sometimes had a harder time getting the right size and fit through ThreadUp. But I think you're bringing up a good point. I probably need to just stick to the brands I know.
Yeah.
It's not the time to like try a different brand. It's like, okay, I know how this maybe more expensive brand fits. And now I'm getting it more on sale. So.
Or if you get like a scream-in deal where you're like, well, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. The nice part about having 2 girls, probably similarly with you for boys too, is that if it doesn't work for one, it's likely it may work for another one. So there's a lot of things, especially like this is a girl mom tip for you too, in terms of dresses. Dresses are where you can splurge because they can wear them longer.
Yeah.
They could wear them
turns
with
into
leggings,
a tunic over time.
So I have, especially my girls are not height. We never have things that get too short. That's never a thing in my house. But they can wear them a lot longer, and I feel like they also get less wear than like the knees of jeans, for example.
Right.
So that's where I'll tend to maybe splurge a little bit.
Okay. All right. Okay. Lots of good things about kids.
Yes.
Kids'
I'm
clothes.
inspired to go tackle their closets now because their clothes have been driving me nuts.
I kind of am too. I think I'm inspired to start making my fall wardrobe Pinterest boards. It's not time yet, like to actually buy stuff, but I could start collecting like the fall lines are going to start coming out, and that just will get me excited for fall.
Yeah, it's a fun little creative side of being a mom.
Yeah.
We have so many things that are not fun about being a mom. Let's be real. This is a fun one.
Let's lean into something that could be fun. Okay, well, tell me about what you're obsessed with lately.
I'm just obsessed with Milk Duds.
Are you? This is great. Okay, when are you eating Milk Duds? How are these finding their way into your life?
I'm finding them so satisfying. I'm ordering one every time I do a grocery pickup, a box of them.
I love it.
And I'll have like 5 or 6 after dinner. And they're so chewy. It's like I'm
thinking about that.
Double-edged sort of like that sweet treat plus a little stress relief.
Right. Yeah. Like chew it out.
Yeah. And I definitely hold a lot of tension in like my shoulders and neck and jaw. And so it just feels like this, like, yeah. And because they're harder to chew, it feels like they last longer. Like you're not burning through
like it's
a
like
box
more
as quickly.
satisfying to eat fewer.
Yes. Kind of like how an apple is more satisfying than a banana. Like the harder you have to work at it, the more, it kind of fills you up. So I'm just loving Milk Duds, and a box or two are going in every single grocery order these days.
I love it. That's great. Okay, well, my obsession is this great non-alcoholic beer that we have discovered. It is called Athletic Brewing. That is the brand. And in my kind of journey in becoming, I kind of would identify as a non-drinker. Now this just kind of happens slowly over time, and I'm just finding that I enjoy it. But I honestly miss having like kind of a special, maybe feels like more indulgent drink. And honestly, I enjoy the taste of beer. So just missing like that taste, or having a beer with some chips or whatever it is. And I have tried several non-alcoholic beers and just finding them not to be worthwhile. Yeah. Like just finding like,
I'd rather have none beer than this beer.
Yeah. It's like, I can tell you're trying, but I'm just not enjoying this enough. Until I tried Athletic Brewing. It tastes so similar to beer to me. It like has kind of that, I don't know, the bitterness, the bite that I was missing from other things. I was reading about the company, and I believe it's the case that they have a process that's different than what other companies might do, where they maybe brew it and then remove the alcohol instead of brewing it in a different way at the outset.
To get more flavor.
I can't remember if that's exactly correct. Whatever they're doing, it is great. So far we have been able to find just locally, like at our grocery stores. I even found the first pack at my local Trader Joe's. We've tried there's an IPA, and then there's like a golden ale. And both of those we've been able to find and have really enjoyed. Like on a Friday afternoon, one of those and some chips. It is pushing all the happy hour buttons. Yes. And it is working.
Yeah, there's something about that just socially, and even that taste. If you had been someone who drinks and enjoys an occasional adult beverage, that you would miss that. So that's good. I'm glad you found something. And Thank you. Good for like pregnant mamas who just miss that.
Yeah. I am just very excited that I feel like more non-alcoholic options are coming up, because it's like, it can be for anyone. It might just be that you just, for today, you don't want to have a drink. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like you don't have to be all or nothing. Right. So I'm loving that. I am crossing my fingers that they come out with a fall beer, and I will be ordering that by the cases.
that would be amazing.
Thank you so much for listening, everyone. You can find us in between shows on Instagram, where we are Hi Girls Next Door, and we have a Girl Next Door podcast page on Facebook. You can send us an email at higirlsnextdoor@gmail.com, and you can find the show notes and links for this episode in your podcast player and on our website, girlnextdoorpodcast.com.
Thanks so much for dropping in. Until next time, be neighborly.
All right, that wraps it up. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Find us in between shows on... Oh, sorry. Also, like, I'm standing here, and I think it was just like I had a weird muscle thing, but it like felt like something was touching me, and I got really nervous. Oh my God.
I thought you were like sitting...
What did you think happened? That I fell off?
I thought you were sitting on a stool and like fell off. It was like a very jerky reaction.
It was. I initially felt it, and I was like, no, that's fine. Then I was like, no, it's not fun. It's not fun. But there's nothing on me. Just like my old bones and muscles. Okay, I've been standing for too long. Okay, here we go.